Hello viewers and welcome to Newsm TV. I am Makanaka Masenyama. Stories making the headlines. Hotels in resort areas to pay electricity bills in foreign currency. In the courts, Manduwanzira challenges Prosecutor General Hodzi petition against his acquittal. In business, 2 oil manufacturers force 600 workers to go on leave due to power outages. In sports, South African-based rugby star set to reveal retirement plans. News in greater detail. Government says it will soon require hotels operating in resort areas such as Victoria Falls to pay their electricity bills in foreign currency. Speaking during a post-cabinet media briefing in Harare on Tuesday, Information Minister Monica Mchangwa said this was government's way of ensuring that tourists are not affected by the current power outages, which have seen locals endure 15-hour load shedding schedules every day.
To alleviate the situation on the power supply front, Cabinet resolved as follows. First, to endorse the arrangement whereby large hotels in the Victoria Falls resort town can pay their ZESA bills in foreign currency so as to boost capacity to import power supplies.
Speaking at the same event, Home Affairs Minister Kane Matema said government will in the next 3 weeks churn out 3,000 passports a day as soon as it takes deliver of equipment to produce the much sought after but scarce document.
I can also assure you that within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we'll be able to have the consumables and the machinery and equipment that we don't have as yet to produce at least 3,000 passports a day.
In another development, Minister Mchangwa said Cabinet has approved duty waivers on solar equipment as the country struggles to provide electricity to industry and households. Mchangwa said government will soon require new buildings which would be constructed in future to run on solar energy in attempts to relieve the national grid of as many units relying on electricity.
Also, that a large-scale program be implemented to promote the importation, local production of solar equipment, and the use of solar power as an alternative energy source. In this regard, special incentives shall be provided through duty waivers on imported solar equipment, while it shall be mandatory for all new construction projects to be solar powered.
Civil servants continue to mount pressure for an upward review of their wages by government, and on Tuesday petitioned Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube to award the lowest paid worker at least $4,750 wage per month. Addressing the media soon after presenting the petition, Cecilia Alexander, President of the Apex Council, the main negotiating arm of government workers, said government should revert to the equivalent of their US dollar wages at the prevailing interbank rate. This follows another round of negotiations which they had with their employer, which failed to yield any positive results.
The lowest paid worker should earn 4,750 RTGS to restore the value of our earnings.
Government insists it is still too financially constrained to meet the wage increase as demanded by its restive workforce. A Chipinge coffee farmer stunned Zimbabwean MPs on Tuesday when he started sobbing for the late former Zanla commander Josiah Tongogara while giving oral evidence before Parliament's Committee on Agriculture as he was relating how his farm has been invaded by a minister's son. Speaking in a quivering voice, Richard Levex became emotional, purportedly in memory of the Liberation War icon, and went on to request committee members to observe a minute of silence for Tongogara.
Ahead of this meeting, to remember one of our greatest fallen heroes, and I'm referring to Comrade General Josiah Tongogara. And in the 30 seconds that I indulge this committee to allow me, let us remember not only him, but let us think of how the country might be today if he had been allowed to live to a fulsome and ripe old age that he would be today. I beg your indulgence for 30 seconds of silence in his memory.
The farmer did not elaborate on why he felt so emotional about a man who died on his way back home from Mozambique on 26 December 1979. He later told NewZimbabwe.com that Tongogara had a special place in his heart. He promised to reveal more about his mysterious attachment to Tongogara when MPs visit his farm. At least half of the Zimbabwean population faces prospects of starvation and will need food aid after it emerged that rural food insecurity in the country is projected to reach 59% during the peak hunger period between January to March next year. This is contained in the latest Zimbabwe Vulnerability Assessment Committee Livelihoods Assessment Report. Figures for the month of June showed that an estimated 21% of Zimbabweans had problems fending for themselves. The report said there is need for urgent food distribution or cash-based transfers to food insecure households in order to avoid a worsening situation. In the courts, former Information Communication Technology Minister Superman Wanzira is seeking dismissal of an application in which Prosecutor General Kumbirai Hodzi has petitioned court to reverse a judgment which found him not guilty of criminal abuse of office charges allegedly committed during his time in government. Hodzi petitioned the High Court for a rescission of the judgment that was delivered in default after all the listed respondents, including himself, the trial magistrate Elijah Makomo, and the National Prosecuting Authority, failed to make representations on the matter. Manduwanzira was facing criminal abuse of office charges after he allegedly awarded $218 million auditing contract to South African-based Megawatt Energy, a deal that allegedly prejudiced net worth of $4 million. The case is still pending. The current power crisis has forced two oil manufacturers, Surface Wilmar and Olivin Industries, to send on forced leave 600 workers as production at the companies has plunged due to the situation. Speaking to Industry and Commerce Deputy Minister Raj Modi during a plant tour in Chitungwiza Tuesday, Surface Wilmar country head Narotan Somani said that the current power outages have affected workers at their two plants. He said at least 300 workers at Surface Wilmar and 300 at Olivin Industries are not at work right now after they were forced to go on leave because of the crisis. He, however, did not disclose whether the workers are being paid or not during their absence.
Many people have been asking me how did I manage it, because they could see that everything was there, everything was just happening, things were being paid. So I've told people that it was through Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. So I would advise everyone to join this Diaspora Funeral Cash Plan. Their policy is good because it took all the weight off my shoulders.
We end with sports. Zimbabwe-born South African rugby star Tendai Beast Mutawarira has revealed that he will make a decision on his Springbok future later this year after the World Cup in Japan. The 33-year-old veteran prop, who has played over 100 test matches for the Springboks, is reportedly considering his future after a glittering career which has also seen him featuring for the Sharks in Super Rugby. Mutawarira is however facing stiff competition from the younger members of the team. Speaking ahead of South Africa's opening rugby championship match against Australia at Ellis Park on Saturday, Mutawarira said he would announce his decision on his future later this year. Reporting for newzimbabwe.com, I am Makanaka Masenyama. For this and more stories, visit our website www.newzimbabwe.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Newzim TV.